And I'm
Yeah, I want to point out too that most people that have these mental disturbances and who have a history of violent behavior and they are abusive towards others, they're not these people who got lives that are just, out of control and not have some sort of structure to them. They're just like with me working with people who are addicted to drugs. These are not just people who are homeless living under a bridge somewhere or living on the street or living in a what society would deem as a crack house and they got a problem with drugs. Most people that I've served, I've dealt with business owners, law enforcement agents, um, corporate America, people who work in the medical field, people who work in the mental health field, lawyers. These are people who they have careers like I got it. We're talking about now. They manage what we would deem as a normal life. Um, I think Canon is really educating us, and I see it, and I educate clients every day on the fact that the best way for us to provide help and resources in these situations is that our community has to be accepted of the fact that we need to be educated more on mental health and mental wellness. I think that's what it goes back to. You know, does everybody need to learn coping skills? Some of us came from homes where parents taught coping and we were taught how to deal with, certain things in certain ways. And, how Darwin may deal with something, Ashley might deal with it differently. I think some of us have been taught healthy coping skills, whether it's going to the gym, whatever. But a lot of us, we haven't been taught and we go with what we know. And it's just this generational, like with the substance use and the violent behavior and domestic violence and this verbal abuse that we need to address in the Black community. This cussing each other out and using words like people use knives and just throwing them around, these four-letter words. You know, I had a friend who joked about I think it was one of her daughter's friends joked about how going into the military wasn't rough for her with them, yelling commands and stuff because everybody at her house yelled and all they did was cuss each other out. We use humor as a defense mechanism to not really deal with what's going on, you know. So 1 minute on the internet, people joining and laughing about these things. And then, the next minute something like this happens and it's like, man, we need to take things more seriously. Well, if we're gonna take it seriously, we need to have the uncomfortable conversations on things that we shouldn't joke about, you know. So I wanted to point that out as well.
Thank you. Fellas, do you all have anything that you like to add to the conversation before we close out? Nothing in particular?
Nah.
Okay.
Let's get back in a happy place.
Yeah, yeah, because that is not a happy place, not a happy place. But I did want to share the suicide hotline number. If you are thinking of suicide, if it's a slight thought, call here for help. It's 1-800-273-8255. I would also like to share a resource for therapy. It's called Talk Space. Okay, and this is for online therapy. Some of you may not know or not feel that you have the time in your life or you don't know how to allot it into your life to go and sit down and talk to someone. There's online therapy options online. There are also therapy options specifically for people of color, for women, for men. So I encourage you all to just to seek that out, get help. There's nothing wrong with therapy. We all need somebody to talk to. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Like, everybody has emotions, right? And it's not about being weak. It's just about dealing with whatever your traumas are, whatever your emotions are, whatever your thoughts are. It might be something that you need just to vent, just to have a confidential place to talk to someone about. For whatever your reason is, get the help that you need, professional help and personal help. Seek somebody out that
Mm-hmm.
cares for you. Um,
Actually, I also wanted to point out too that if you check with your employer, those of you all who are not self-employed, check with your employer for employee assistance programming. A lot of times there are free therapy sessions that your employer has already prepaid for. So whether it's, this is a rough time of year for people too. We're in the holiday season. So, and for some of us, this is just not a happy time. You might be grieving. You might be grieving due to, loss of family members around this time of the year, the stress of the holiday season. You might even find yourself in a situation like this family, where they have lost these loved ones due to this act of violence. Check with your employer. Some states have what they call community service boards or state mental health. I know a lot of people are not fans per se of what the state might provide in terms of mental health, but there are actually a lot of qualified clinicians and therapists that work for the state that will actually be able to assist you at no cost at all. And if you do not know how to tap into those type of resources and you just need help in doing that, hit me up at mosleyjavonda@gmail.com. I will help you free of charge because that's what I do. I'm a help person. That's my calling.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I know a lot of people, I was saying, you may want to seek some help out. Most of us may feel alone, but we're not alone. There's somebody who cares. But if you really think that there's nobody who cares, you just never know. Talk to a pastor, talk to somebody. Just try to get help. Because, we don't have to do this alone. We're not made to do life alone.